Still talking about Rhino's interface, now we have some auxiliary functions to help us modeling in Rhino that can be activated and deactivated. Here on the bottom of the screen we have a few of them, but the main ones are Grid Snap, Ortho Snap, and Gumball. So Grid Snap first. Let's zoom into the grid until we see those small squares. Each one of those small squares are 1 unit long. That means its side is 1 unit. The unit in this model is a millimeter, so each side is 1 millimeter long. If you have Grid Snap on and then call a command like line, this function will attract our mouse cursor to the vertices of our squares. If we turn off Grid Snap now, we can select any point in the space. It doesn't need to be entire unit anymore. The second function is ortho. If we select line and then we try to draw a line, we can make an inclined line. If we turn ortho on, this line will be attracted to be either a vertical line or a longitudinal line. It can also be turned on and off by the shortcut pressing the key F8 or Shift. Tony Castro Academy. Yacht Design and 3D Modeling Courses. Next function is OSnap or Object Snap. The Object Snap allows us to attract our mouse cursor to interesting points inside the objects that we already have modeled. So let's say that we want to draw a line. And let's suppose we don't have Ortho Snap on. So the second point of our line can be placed anywhere we want. Now let's say that we want this line to end in the exact point where this other line ends. So you would need to go very, very close, and still you wouldn't be able to select precisely the end of that line. So that's why we have the Object Snap option. If you turn it on and you have an option on, now, if you come close to the end of the other line, it will attract your mouse cursor to the end point of that other line. That will also happen for near points, perpendicular points, midpoint, and center. All of those interesting points can be turned on and off here on those checkboxes. The next auxiliary function that I will present is the function Gumball. The function Gumball can be turned on and off on this button here. So once we have selected an object and we turn Gumball on, it will show on the screen this colored system of arrows and arcs that will help us editing the object. That is, to do modifications on the object in a faster way. I will show you these modifications on this display front view in 2D. So the first modification that we can do is to move an object, and we can do that by using these arrows. We can left-click on the arrow, pressing it with the left mouse bottom and dragging it to the side. Then you're going to move it. You can also give one click on the arrow and type the amount that you want to move the object. Have in mind that the amount that you're going to type will be the same unit as you have your system predefined. Here it is set in millimeters, so 500 millimeters. We can make movement longitudinally, vertically, and on both directions at the same time by using this little square. The next function inside Gumball is to rotate an object, and to do that we'll use this arcs. By pressing the arc and dragging it, you can rotate the object. Manually, or giving one click on the arc, we can type the angle in degrees that we want to rotate it. Have in mind that if you have the function ortho on, and you try to rotate the object, it will do 90 degrees. The next function that we can do with Gumball is to scale in one direction our object. We can do that vertically by clicking on this square here on the bottom, dragging it. And then we scale it manually, or we can do one click and enter the scale factor. You can do that on both directions. The next function inside Gumball is to copy an object. And to do that we need to press Alt key, and then you drag the object to the side or to any direction you want. This way you will create copies. You can also do that by entering the precise amounts that you want to copy. If you press Ctrl and you drag the Gumball to the side, you're going to move only the Gumball system, and now, for example, you can rotate from a different reference. The next function is to make an extruded plane from a curve. So to show you that, I will turn the shaded mode on so now we can see surfaces. Now we have this curve in here. I will press this little circle on the middle of the arrow. I'll drag it to the side and it will create an extruded surface from that original curve alternatively. We can click on the curve, press the arrow holding the bottom, and now we can press Ctrl. Once you have pressed Ctrl, we can see that the command for extrude that curve is being applied, and then if I confirm by clicking in the mouse left bottom, it will create the same extruded surface. So those are basically all the commands that you can do in a much faster way when you use Gumball.